Hi, it's Mark Owen from Moose Marketing and PR, the editor of Punchline Magazine, and welcome to Punchline Talks, the big interview. Today, I'm joined by Richard Muller, who's the chairman of Prima Dental, based in Waterwells Business Park. Welcome to Punchline Talks, Richard.
Thank you, Mark. Good to meet you.
Now, a fantastic company. I've been watching you over the last, 10 or 15 years I've been doing Punchline. You seem to go from strength to strength. Can you tell us about the company, please?
For sure. We make dental drills, which I appreciate is not everybody's cup of tea. It's a pretty specialist product range, and I'm pleased to say over the last 20 years we've grown from the smallest company in our industry to the world's largest manufacturer of these exotic instruments that dentists all around the world use. We turned over £30 million in 2021. Which was a very turbulent year, I have to say. A terrible first quarter, excellent last quarter, but with all the complexities of supply chain and a big recruitment campaign and training in the middle of it. We've got 230 odd staff in Waterwells, as you say, and we have JVs in Brazil, in China, in Hong Kong, and we have a sales subsidiary in India, so that would add probably about another 30 plus people to that number.
Now, how big was the company when you joined around 20 years ago?
It was a much smaller business. It was based in just off the Bristol Road, the Madleys estate. We had less than, I think we had about 60 staff there. It was a 5 million turnover business, and regrettably at that stage was had suffered underinvestment for many years, so working on machines 40 plus years old.
Right, okay. And how did the company actually start?
Depends on how far back you want to go, because we can actually trace our history back to the late 1870s with a jeweler in London who turned his hand to making dental products. But the recent incarnation of the business really started in 1998 when it was acquired by the current owners, who saw the opportunity to reinvest in the business and hopefully the people that could make a change in the fortunes of the business.
Now, during COVID, I would imagine the dental industry just ground to a halt, if you don't mind the pun.
I'm not a young man. I've been in business for over 40 years. It was the single most traumatic event that I've ever experienced. As you're suggesting, the dental industry worldwide pretty much collapsed overnight as people ceased to attend dentists, or dentistry itself was closed down. So overnight, in a matter of a week, really, we saw our total order book fall apart. Some of our more long-term customers kept faith with us and allowed us to fulfill their orders. Others just cancelled everything. So from overnight, we just came to pretty much a standstill. Having said that, we did have NHS customers, so we continued to run the business throughout the lockdown period, but at about 30% of our normal staff, and much less in terms of turnover than that even.
And what was the most difficult thing for you to handle there? Was it the sort of cash flow projection? Was it trying to keep the guys on board? There were so many different things to juggle, wasn't it?
Mark, you're absolutely right. The first thing, of course, is the staff, because we've been very fortunate. We've grown consistently in double-digit figures year on year for 10 years, and we've built up our loyal staff. So, helping the staff understand what the issues were, and we did take advantage of the furlough schemes. I say we reduced our headcount on furlough by about 70%, but also, of course, the rush to conserve cash, the workings with the bank, and really trying to figure out, and without any real information, the way this was going to turn out.
Now, what would you say was the most difficult thing to handle then? Was it the staff? Was it the money? Was it the banks? Was there no one particular?
Definitely the staff. We have a terrific workforce, and I don't say that lightly. A lot of them have been with us for a long time. They've been very loyal to us. through some, interesting times. And, I take looking after the staff and the culture of the business very seriously. So that personally was the hardest thing for me to actually work through.
So where are you from originally, from Richard? Are you from Gloucestershire, or did you grow up here, or did you sort of come, where? Yeah.
No, I'm an adopted son of Gloucestershire, and a proud one at that, because I absolutely love it down here. But originally, I came from Surrey, by way of Kent and other sort of parts of the UK, including some time spent in Switzerland as well. So, but yeah, primarily from Surrey.
And so, okay, how did you land here in Gloucestershire then?
Okay. Cutting a very long story short, I took a business degree. I graduated, God knows, back in the late 1970s, and worked with a big multinational company in Kent for about 8 years, and then I went home for Christmas to my parents, and my dad, who just started a company making dental products in those days, talking about his difficulty in making sales, and somehow over a few glasses of wine and the Christmas turkey, we agreed to give it a couple of years. And that was 30 years ago, my introduction to the dental industry. We sold the business to the owners of the company in Gloucester back in 1998. And I came as part of the package deal as the then sales and marketing director for the group of companies we were assembling down in Gloucester in those days.
Wow, fantastic. So it's a business that you sold, your parents, and you grew and sold it to them, and you became the chief executive.
Oh yeah, eventually. We went through quite a review of the businesses in 2000. We had some consultants involved, and we were a mix of businesses. There are 5 separate businesses there, all involved in dental, but all providing different products in different categories in terms of quality and pricing and branding and so on. So Swiss consultants came over, and they asked us to provide a core product focus. I went off and did some work in America in terms of market research, came back with a business plan, which was to develop the carbide burr business, which is the successful business we have today. And I guess when the results came in from that and the consultants agreed with me, and the owners of that stage said, well, it's your plan, you better go and deliver it, which was, it was a good challenge. And I have to be honest, something that I was angling for anyway. Okay,
so you've taken on your plan.
Yep.
What was the next phase of that then? How did you actually achieve it? Did you get a new team in? Did you relook at the marketing?
Well, again, we had to gather some cash to reinvest in CNC machinery, because in those days we had only analog machinery.
Sorry, what year was this, Richard? Sorry.
This would have been 2000, 2001. And so the first thing was really the re-equipment of the factory, because we couldn't continue making products on old machinery to the quality that we needed, nor could we really scale the production. So we sold one of the divisions of the business, and we conserved cash and other means to really make our first investment in CNC machines. And I remember the first one very well, because it was £100,000, and that was a lot of money for us in those days. And that was sleepless nights to see if it would work. And this last 6 months, we spent about 6 million in terms of new machines, and that's an easy decision, because we know how this works now. But that was an interesting time.
I mean, you market these and sell them all over the world. I'm just going to put them up on screen, actually. Maybe you could talk, because I know nothing about dental products. So it's not your normal policy. So can you tell us what this is, please?
Okay, well, that's a good shot, which more than anything advertises the fantastic Swiss machines that we've invested in so heavily. So that is a diamond grinding wheel, which you'll see in the pink. You can't quite see the edge, and you'll see the burr in the middle of the screen being held in a holder. And it's that diamond wheel that grinds the carbide. Carbide is an exceptionally hard material, and the only thing you can use to really work with is diamond. And this really is a core of our business, as well as being a good advertisement for the Swiss machine manufacturers. Great business to work with. We worked with them right from the start of the re-equipment of the business in 2000. They're based in the watchmaking area of Switzerland, and amongst other customers, they make machines for Rolex. So they really are top quality, extremely expensive, needless to say, but they're the core of our business engineering, really.
I'm just going to go to another shot here. So these are obviously the different types of.
Yeah, that's a latter development, really. Dentistry is like everything else in this world, is going digital. So now, when you go to the dentist and need a false tooth, the analog days of putting putty in your mouth in a metal tray and asking you to bite down, and then that impression going off to a craftsman in a laboratory to cast that up and make a false tooth. This is now digital, and a dentist will now take a digital impression. You'll hold a small camera in your mouth that will scan your mouth and determine the size of the false tooth, replacement tooth that you require. And that then goes on to a computer control machine, which mills out a tooth. And those tools are the latest tools in that development line. Dramatic changes in dentistry, I have to say.
So how does it work? So I don't understand. So those tools.
Yeah, so you've taken the scan and you feed that scan into a milling machine. The ones at the moment are the size really of a desk, I guess. You load into that a blank of a ceramic material. Most popular is probably something called zirconia. And the machine already knows, because of the digital scan, what it has to actually mill out. And it mills from that zirconia block. Zirconia is a very interesting material to work with, and those tools that you just showed, we developed just in the last 2 years, which actually then mill that out. Once that's milled out, that then is taken to an oven, which makes the zirconia as hard as is required to be put into a patient's mouth. So things are changing, and we're changing our manufacturing of products to meet those changes.
How many dental tools do you make a year then?
Okay, that's a really good question. Last year in our core product range, which is carbide burrs used in the mouth in the dental surgery, we made something approaching 40 million worldwide. And next year we'll be putting another 10 million on that. So it'll be 50 million in this current financial year of 2022.
Well, an increase of 25%. That's amazing. How have you managed to do that? Is that because of the new investment with the machinery that you just talked about?
Yeah, we're. I would say this because my background really is marketing, but we're a sales and marketing-led business. So we have very strong partnerships and distribution chains throughout the world, and they have grown with us and continue to grow with us. But we've also diversified the product range. We have a lot of innovation in our business in terms of providing different solutions. So sales and marketing led, but backed by heavy capital investment. We are a capital intensive business. And it's a strange world we inhabit. It's a volume business, but it's also a precision business, which in engineering is an unusual combination.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely amazing. I'm just going to go to another shot. So what's this one now then?
That's a good one that you've chosen there, actually. That's the Predator burr, and that's the product that really broke through for us, the American marketplace, going back I suppose 12 years ago, and that has a very specific purpose. It removes metal fillings and metal crowns from the mouth. It's extremely aggressive, and we developed a burr which removed and cut faster and better than anybody else's, with less vibration, which was better for patient comfort. So that was a truly breakthrough product, and that really got us noticed by a lot of the people that counted in the American marketplace, which is the biggest in the world.
Did you have to go over to the States yourself? Is there like
yeah.
Is it lots of different? Here we have the NHS, so you kind of got one target. I don't know, there's lots of independents, but in America, how does that work?
It works by, yeah, we spend as a business a lot of time traveling. You know, face-to-face contact is important to us to build confidence. So our sales team, until fairly recently, has constantly been on the road, and that included me too. So in America, yeah, it's was attending a lot of the business shows, working with the bigger distributors. And that was the other breakthrough really for our product in the States. Having spent all our cash on exotic machines to make a really good quality product, we didn't have the advertising and marketing money to really compete with the 2 or 3 major brands that were manufactured locally. So we took a different route, and we went white label routes, a private label route with the distributor's name on the product, which was hardly known in those days in America. Certainly when I started, I think that business was only 7 or 8% of the marketplace in our product area. Last year it was 38%, and that 38% is dominated by us. So we worked a different route. We gave a different product in good packaging. We gave good branding for the individual companies, good sales training. So all the benefits of working with a brand, but at a price advantages minus the advertising. And yeah, it's that was a breakthrough marketing strategy, I have to say.
Now, as a CEO, I mean, what would you say was the biggest lesson that you've learned running the company?
I think persistence and resilience. Nothing ever happens the first time you try it, and you know, I'm very proud that we've got joint ventures in the places that we have. None of those were with the current ones, are with the first partners we chose. So you learn by your mistakes, and you pick yourself up and you go again. And I truly believe persistence, when it's chasing a sale or a contract or trying new things, you have to see it through to the end. And that to me is one of the key attributes.
I was going to ask you, actually, that leads on very nicely to, you know, what would you say was the biggest mistake you made as a chief?
Oh dear, how many?
I'm going to own up to it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm assuming this is not going to be broadcast in Brazil, so I won't be sued. I was very keen to get into Brazil because I saw this as an up-and-coming marketplace, and this is going back 10 years now, and it has turned out to be a very successful marketplace for us. But I spent 2 years talking to a company down there, to people I thought were the right partners, and they had good manufacturing as far as I could see. And we had letter of intents and lots of dinners with them over here and back over there. And then we did the due diligence. And to my absolute horror, on the day we were about to sign the contracts in New York, the accountants came back and said, there's a small problem. And the small problem was they hadn't paid any taxes for 7 years. And that if we'd signed the contract, that tax liability would have fallen on us. So they managed to do this very cleverly and conceal it, but we nearly made a horrible mistake. And then, of course, we had to start all over again and find another partner. Partner we have now, it's a fantastic company, and but we learned something from that. We really did.
We're learning every day in business, isn't it? That's what it's going to be. I'm just going to go to the next one, because the next slide that I've got here is this. And yep. Congratulations. Do you want to explain this photograph, please?
So yeah, this was our second Queen's Award, which was 3 years ago, and I'm really proud of it. I'm proud of them both. We won one 8 years ago as well, both for export. Export is, I've always been involved in export businesses. Even when I was working with my father, we really grew the business by expanding into export markets. So and my passion for the Queen's Award comes from when I was an undergraduate student with a multinational back in the 70s for the Marley company. And we won a Queen's Award for industry. It was one of the first ones which was awarded. And it was a huge thing for the business. And it was always in the back of my mind that if I ever got to run a business, that was something we'd go after. And I'm pleased to say we've now got two. And very proud of that. The recognition internationally for that is enormous.
I was going to say, so what's next? So here we go, 230 staff. We've got 30 million pound turnover, or 40 million pound turnover, 25% increase. What do you do next, Richard? How do you take it to the next level?
Well, you ask a good question at an interesting time, because I took over as exec chairman just in June last year, and my primary task now is innovation and diversification. And we've got some really interesting plans, some of which I can talk about, some of which I can't. First one I can talk about is we just won a grant of just under £500,000 from Innovate UK. And we have a project there which is involved in the eradication of virus in dental surgeries. We have a very bright head of innovation in the company, Dr. Marilyn Go, and she's working with King's College, and we're delighted to have that award. We're looking to diversify into medical products, where I see some considerable potential for crossover. And I'm pleased to say we just won a first contract for that business for about $500,000 in America. So I'm 65 and I've been in the business for over 20 years, but I'm not finished. I still have a passion for this. I'm still enjoying what I do.
Wow, yeah, that's really, really remarkable to be able to get those sales as well so quickly, and the diversification. I mean, so for yourself then, we talked very briefly about your journey. What about now? What's your sort of favorite record, if you don't mind? So if we went to your car, switched on the engine, what would a CD player? Would it be a CD? Would it be a cassette? What would it be, Richard?
Gilla, that's a really good question. I have a fairly eclectic musical choice. I mean, from the mainstream sort of Fleetwood Mac through some pretty heavy metal stuff, but also Cuban jazz music, modern jazz. I'm a proud possessor as of a 60th birthday present of a modern turntable. So I'm back into the vinyl and reviving some of my vinyl collection. So it's a pretty broad taste, I have to say.
Well, I have to agree with you there. I've just got a record player as well, actually. And I'm really enjoying my vinyl. The first record I put on actually was Blondie, which I dug out. But
yes, absolutely.
So I've got to ask you then, in Cuban jazz and stuff, does that mean you salsa and merengue and things like that yourself?
Not personally. I enjoy the music rather than the act of moving to the music. Let's put it that way. But music is a great thing, and I have a little bit more thinking time in my life now and less traveling. So I'm finding time for some other things, and music is certainly part of that process.
But I've got to ask you, Richard, unfortunately, we're kind of running out of time. It goes so quickly. Mm-hmm. So I have to ask you, what's your top 3 business tips, please?
Okay, well, first one I think is vision. I'm a great believer in vision and imagining where a business can be. And if you can share that vision with passion and get people to share it and stand behind it, it's amazing how powerful that is. People start to inculcate that into their own personal career development. And quite often we've found over the years that having that vision, you look back over 5 years and you find 80% of that vision you've actually accomplished. So vision, I think, is really important.
Okay, and is there a second one?
People, of course, people. And I think one of the other issues I've learned over the years is that I've often waited too late to expand the bandwidth of the business as far as people are concerned. I've left it, we've always been playing catch up. So I've learned in the more recent past that you need to employ better people than you think you can afford, really, because they will, generally speaking, repay that investment.
Okay, and your final one then?
Well, we talked about a bit about persistence before, and my third one is resilience. Because as a CEO, life is never a straight line, and you have to encounter the ups and the downs with an equally smiling face. And I think resilience, something I have to say my father taught me. When the going gets tough, you just get your head down and work your way through it. And I have to say that is something I still believe in very much.
Richard Muller, Chairman of Prima Dental. Thank you ever so much for joining Punchline Talks today. It's been fascinating, and catch up with you very soon, and all the very, very best.
Thank you, Marcus. It's been a pleasure.